All right, welcome everyone to today's webinar on creating youth substance use prevention strategies that promote protective wellness behaviors. This webinar, this webinar should last about 30 to 40 minutes. And afterward, I will send everyone who's registered a link, if we are successful in recording this, a link to the recorded session if you want to review it or share it with others in your region or state. I highly recommend you do that. I appreciate that. Get the word out, the good news out. And I'll also send you a PDF copy of the slides, which you're welcome to send out and share with others. And lastly, I'll send you a certificate for about a half-hour time that you could type your name in and print out a copy for your records, for perhaps for CEU credit, depending on your credentialing agency. So let's go ahead and dive right in. There's quite a bit of content that we have today. There's three session objectives. The first is for you all to be able to identify three options for providing PPW strategies. And PPW strategies, PPW refers to prevention plus wellness. Secondly, you'll be able to describe how prevention plus wellness programs can be tailored to your setting and youth population or populations. And lastly, to describe, and this is the core of this today's session, describe 6 steps for creating your own evidence-informed prevention plus wellness program or media campaign. So there's 3 options for providing prevention plus wellness strategies. The first is to implement existing evidence-based or evidence-informed prevention plus wellness programs as is. In other words, taking the programs that we offer at Prevention Plus Wellness LLC and providing them as they exist without any changes, just taking them off the shelf and using them. The second strategy or the second option is to take the evidence-based or evidence-informed PPW programs and tailor them or customize them to your particular setting or to your youth or young adult population or populations. And then your third option, and again, the majority of today's content will be focusing on creating your own evidence-informed prevention plus wellness strategy. It could be a program, a screening and brief intervention, a media campaign, or some combination thereof. And it's evidence-informed because it is based on an evidence-based model that all of our prevention plus wellness programs are founded on. So before we talk about specifics, I think it's important to note that the issue at hand is that young people are exposed to multiple risks to their health. And in fact, there was a seminal study, national study done by Fox and colleagues back in 2010 that showed over half of high school students throughout the country are engaged in 2 or more risk behaviors. So it could be, in fact, they could have 3 risks, 4 risks or more. And so those risks might be substance use, but they also could be chronic disease risks like, poor eating habits or inadequate physical activity. And so the authors recommended that interventions at the clinical and community, of course that would include school levels, should target multiple risks rather than just single risk factors. And particularly that the interrelatedness of health risk behaviors should be addressed. In other words, how might the substance use risks interact with and affect healthy habits? How might healthy habits protect against substance use risks? Another way to look at this is the fact that there are a number of benefits to a healthy lifestyle. healthy lifestyle defined as, again, getting regular physical activity, eating nutritiously most days a week, getting adequate sleep. And the research shows that a healthy lifestyle is associated with improved physical and mental health, as well as self-reported quality of life. A healthy lifestyle is associated with more positive self-image, self-esteem, self-regulation, self-confidence, and life skills. And for those of you that are prevention providers out there, less depression, anxiety, unsafe sex, alcohol, tobacco, and illicit drug use. A greater brain development, cognitive functioning, as well as more opportunities to socialize, have fun, and develop friendships. Healthy lifestyles are associated with greater academic success as measured by less suspensions, greater attendance, less dropouts, and greater likelihood to attend and complete college. And lastly, a healthy lifestyle is associated with less cardiovascular disease, including heart disease, diabetes, cancer, stroke, obesity, and osteoporosis. Now, if you want to implement prevention plus wellness programs as is, without any tailoring or without developing your own, just taking them off the shelf, that's the easiest way to go. The options are 2 evidence-based programs that we provide, and a number of evidence-informed programs. So one of our evidence-based programs, Sport Prevention Plus Wellness, is for youth. It's been proven to prevent alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis use while increasing physical activity, with some effects lasting even a year after a single intervention, a single session program lasting about 45 minutes in length, so very brief and powerful. And that effects were among all youth in general as a universal prevention intervention, as well as among substance using youth. Sport PPW targets physical activity, nutrition, healthy nutrition, eating breakfast, sleep, and to a certain extent, stress control. As I mentioned, a single session, about 45 minutes in length. It is a screening and brief intervention. It's designed to motivate a change for behavioral change and to initiate behavior change. It comes in a high school, middle school, and elementary school versions. It's implemented with PowerPoint slides, and it has in the booklet scripts or protocols to provide this single session program to youth one-on-one as well as in a group. It's based on marketing theory, targeting positive images designed to increase motivation for change. It also includes optional parent materials, particularly a set of weekly flyers for parents that can be mailed out, handed out, emailed, put on your website. It's just an additional separate intervention altogether. It could be a follow-up intervention as well as web resources for youth, for parents, and for providers. And the reproducible materials come in a digital download. So you can order this manual, comes with a digital download. It's a single purchase price, and you don't have to order anything else except for training, online training if you desire that, but no other materials are needed. Our parallel program, a Prevention Plus Wellness program for young adults, whether they be college students or in the community or armed forces, what have you, is called the InShape Prevention Plus Wellness program. And like sport, evidence-based, we did research, a number of studies showing its outcomes, its effectiveness, rigorous randomized trial studies with control groups, proven to prevent alcohol, cannabis, and drinking driving even a year later, including heavy cannabis use and heavy alcohol use, most dangerous type of use, increased physical activity, sleep, and health-related quality of life as well. This program targets physical activity, healthy nutrition, sleep, and stress control, and again, single session screening and brief intervention, implemented with slides, a script in your manual to provide it one-on-one or in a group, and reproducible materials in a digital download. Lastly, we have a number of evidence-informed Prevention Plus Wellness programs. These are based on the evidence-based sport Prevention Plus Wellness model, same conceptual model, behavior image model, which I'll introduce here in just a moment. But these programs include vaping prevention plus wellness, marijuana prevention plus wellness, opioid PPW, sport 2 PPW are only multi-session programs, 6 sessions, and in God's image for faith-based settings. So we have a number of other evidence-informed programs. Some of these are ongoing evaluation as we speak. So that's your first choice. You can take existing prevention plus wellness programs, evidence-based or evidence-informed, order them, get some online training in a couple of hours, and you're ready to rock and roll. No need to do anything else. But some organizations and some prevention and health and fitness professionals decide to do some customization of the program. So unlike many other evidence-based programs, we believe customization is critical to success, depending on the setting and the population. So prevention plus wellness programs are rather easy to customize, pardon me, because you can simply switch out some of the PowerPoint slide images. So a couple of examples of that are in the mountain state of Montana. We had some organizations, some people taking out some of the images of that we show of youth engaged in organized sports like basketball and replacing them with the kinds of activities that are much more prevalent in Montana, outdoor recreational activities like snow skiing and hiking and so forth. So that's a perfect example of customization or tailoring. And another example is how InShape is being used by one particular Air Force base out west, and they've replaced some of the images of young adults with illustrations of men and women, airmen and women in uniform. So the participants can see representations of themselves. Tailoring, pretty easy. You just focus on the PowerPoint slides. Even some content could be moved around. If there's a word or two you don't like, you could change it. If you want to add a little extra content, you could do that. For example, the U.S. Air Force included a little bit of content that wasn't in the InShape program originally to address caffeinated drinks, which is a particular issue on that Air Force base. So all of this is possible. You can also co-brand your slides. You can put your organization's name, color, logo on it. Some organizations choose to do a more detailed or a more in-depth cultural adaptation or language translation. The main thing is you don't modify the underpinning theories, and we do provide prevention plus wellness tailoring services, free to a certain extent. We're happy to help you make some, do some tailoring. We want to see any tailoring you do to the program in advance before you use the tailored program, so that we can give you that feedback necessary to make sure that it looks good. And then we can learn from you and then share what we've learned with others. So implement the PPW programs as is, off the shelf, to take them and do some customization or tailor them to your setting or your population. And what has happened over time in this process is that there have been a number of adaptations of prevention plus wellness programs. So I wanted to highlight some of these for you. So over time, what we've done is we've gone from the evidence-based sport and then InShape prevention plus wellness programs to evidence-informed programs addressing emerging substance use behaviors and addressing new content like vaping e-cigarettes, marijuana, opioids, faith-based content in God's image, or additional content in sport 2. Our programs have gone from being universal prevention interventions to being used in selected and indicated settings. In other words, for youth or young adults that are higher risk or disruptive behavioral problems or have already initiated substance use. For younger populations, we have now a sport for elementary school children, which we didn't before. We have an opioid program, not just for adolescents, but also one for young women and young men. which we didn't have. And we have seen the expansion of our programs, not, from largely a school setting to many, many different settings, almost any setting where young people are found, including recreation and sports and wilderness and juvenile justice, you name it, wherever young people are found or young adults are found. These single session, flexible prevention plus wellness programs can be provided. And as I mentioned before, in US military settings and mountain states. And we've now provide follow-up strategies, additional content, web-based resources, and there have been some language translations, particularly Spanish. We provide the sport parent letter and flyers in Spanish as well as English. And we have had one Turkish translation of the sport prevention plus wellness program and an actual study of that Turkish translation in Istanbul, Turkey, by a nursing student for a graduate degree program and for graduate degree. And she found that there was significant behavioral indicators of behavioral effects on physical activity, nutrition, sleep, I think even stress, for youth that were assigned to receive support versus a control. So definitely all of these are possible, these kinds of translations and these kinds of adaptations. Now let's talk about the main component, main aspect or element for today's webinar, steps for creating your own evidence informed program or campaigns. I call it evidence informed because you are going to be using the same conceptual format, a theory that we've used in our evidence-based programs. And so let me walk you through it step by step, 6 steps. Step number 1, you identify risk and wellness habits that you'd like to target based on need or interest. Number 2, you develop a 2-step messaging, which I'll show you how to do. Step 3, you develop additional risk messages if you want, addressing substance use. Step 4, you create PowerPoint slides or other media with corresponding positive imagery. Number 5, you develop a goal setting or pledges to initiate that behavior change. And number 6, you create questions for screening, survey, or media campaign to increase awareness of personal health habits. Now, all of the steps are based on the conceptual framework underpinning all prevention plus wellness programs, the behavior image model of BIM. BIM is a marketing-related theoretical roadmap for developing programs or media campaigns that integrate the promotion of wellness with substance use prevention. There's 2 components to it. The first is to use positive images to increase motivation for change and to link healthy habits, wellness habits, fitness habits with the avoidance of substance use. And then secondly, to capitalize on that increased motivation that young people have from those messages by having them make a pledge or goal setting to increase self-regulation skills or self-control. Step number 1 of the 6 steps, identify risk and wellness habits to target. Number 1, and by the way, we can provide more in-depth training about this and walk you through this, either you as professionals or your youth, if you want them to have that as a youth experience, youth leadership experience, to develop their own evidence-informed prevention plus wellness messages or campaign or program. We can provide that for you. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end. So step number 1, you want to identify risk and wellness habits to target. Number 1, you list and prioritize substance use or other risk behaviors you wish to prevent or decrease. So think in terms of, what do I want to prevent or decrease? What do my youth or young adult populations, what are they at risk for? It could be alcohol use, specific type of alcohol use, such as binge drinking. It could be vaping, e-cigarettes, marijuana, opioid misuse, or it could be a non-substance use risk, such as suicide or on-screen time. And then after that, secondly, you list and prioritize wellness behaviors you wish to increase or to maintain, those related that are commonly seen lacking in young people today are physical activity, breakfast eating, other healthy nutrition, sleep, stress control, spiritual habits, and so forth. So you identify those. Secondly, you develop this two-step messaging. So you select one substance use behavior and one wellness behavior, and then you create a sample two-step message process. I'll show you that in a minute. Then you select a second wellness behavior, and you create a sample messages using the same substance use behavior. You create additional substance use messages, and you repeat. Let me just show you an example in a number 7. So for example, you're interested in alcohol as your substance use behavior, and then you develop a message about alcohol and how it interferes with physical activity. Alcohol interferes with sleep, alcohol and nutrition, alcohol and stress control. And then if you want to address another substance use behavior, you can start over again. Let's say it's marijuana. How does marijuana interfere with physical activity, sleep, nutrition, and stress control? Now, the construction of these two-step messages are, number 1, you present positive, desired future and peer images and other benefits from a health-enhancing behavior. Again, it could be physical activity or healthy nutrition. It could be more specific than that, eating breakfast daily, eating 5 or more fruits and vegetables, so forth. And then secondly, you link how substance use behaviors are barriers and represent a feared image. The goal here is you're going to trigger a mental picture of a healthy behavior and how substance use interferes with that. And the key is to use vivid terms and illustrations. So let me give you one example. Step number 1, again, you want to highlight the positive images and other benefits of health-enhancing behavior. Here's an example. Young people who engage in physical activity, there's your wellness behavior, tends to feel energetic, sleep better, and look more active, fit, and confident. And the image terms are underlined, as well as other benefits, including sleep behavior. So that's step 1. You're highlighting those positive images and benefits of a health-enhancing behavior. This one was physical activity. And now we're going to link how substance use, particularly alcohol, marijuana in this case, interferes with that regular physical activity and the images and benefits. And here's a quote: marijuana use can reduce your level. Marijuana use can reduce your energy level needed to participate in regular exercise and achieve your fitness goals of being in shape, looking good, and feeling fit and active. So there you see the linkage between substance use and the positive behavior. Another way to look at this is what you want to do is make a list of the benefits and the countering barriers for each benefit for selected behaviors. And here's an example. In the left-hand column, you see some images and other benefits of physical activity, including high energy, fitness, being fit, being active, friendly, successful. And then you can see in the right-hand column how marijuana is a barrier to each of these benefits to physical activity. So for example, the first benefit, number 1, high energy. The barrier to that, according that marijuana is that marijuana saps that energy. Take another benefit in the left-hand column, number 2. In the right-hand column, marijuana can be more likely for you to eat junk foods, making you less fit. So you can see the connection we're making from the left and the right-hand column. Remember, I'm going to send you these slides so you can take a look at them some more. Step number 3, develop additional risk messages. So we know that there's a number of other risk factors associated with substance use. So the first item there, substance use is a barrier to each targeted health behavior. You've already created those messages, but some of the other messages that substance use risk messages that we provide in our Prevention Plus Wellness programs includes how substance use harms your fitness and health overall, causes life problems, myths associated with substance use, particularly new substance use, developing epidemics like marijuana and e-cigarettes have a lot of myths associated with them, so correcting that. Most youth do not use marijuana, e-cigarettes, alcohol. That's a social norming message, healthy alternatives, and so on. So we do address other risks associated with substance use in prevention plus wellness programs. So one example of a myth message is, the big myth is that marijuana use is harmless. The truth is cannabis use, especially regular heavy use, results in many negative and lasting effects on the brain as well as the body and life. Step 4, moving along because I know we're running a little bit late. This session is going to go probably closer to 40 minutes. A lot of good stuff here. So number 4, you want to create, out of the 6 steps, you want to create PowerPoint slides or other media with corresponding positive images. So let me just show you one example. An active life and alcohol use do not mix. Specifically, alcohol and drugs hurt relationships, how well you do in sports, how you feel about yourself, your energy level, and how you do in work and school. And you see this very positive image of a young female playing soccer. You want to show images that young people can relate to, both genders, different ethnicities, other positive activities that they can relate to and see themselves in. And then this just shows you how you can switch out some of these messages and even use the same image if you want, how marijuana and the active life don't mix, because marijuana hurts brain development, lung function, success in school and sports, and increases mental health problems. Or active life and vaping e-cigarettes don't mix, because e-cigarettes hurt how well you do in physical activities, brain development, lung function, success in school and sports, and leads to ADD. And here's one more example. Again, positive image, a young female taking a snooze, looks very relaxed. Alcohol, tobacco, other drugs disrupt sound sleep and stop deep sleep patterns needed to maintain an active and high energy life. And yet we're showing, for the most part, positive images in those communications, these PowerPoint slides or other media. By the way, that media, other media could be anything. It could be, images online. It could be posters. It could be banners. It could be, emails. It could be anything. Step 5, develop goal setting or pledges. This is designed to, now that these images have increased motivation for change, increased imagery in the mind about how positive these wellness behaviors are that you selected, and how substance use can be a barrier to those. Now you want to capitalize on that and increase some self-control skills, initiate change. And so we want to increase self-regulation skills to set and monitor behavior goals. That includes avoidance of alcohol and drug use, as well as whatever specific other risk behavior you've got, and improvement of one or more protective healthy habits, could be nutrition, sleep, stress control. And then making it a public contract will increase motivation, according to research. In our contracts, in our goals, we have a number of things we address. We have recommendations to increase wellness and avoid substance use. We have a listing of a health habit to improve. We have participants list a health habit to improve. We have them sign it, and whoever is providing this, whoever the instructor is, whether it's an adult or a youth leader, co-signs it, making it increasing the motivation for change. We also provide wellness tips and a concluding positive statement. The last step to creating your own prevention plus wellness images is to create questions for a screening survey or media campaign addressing targeted behaviors, because we want young people to think about where are their health habits, where are they with regard to their health habits currently. So some examples of questions that we ask, particularly in the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program, is number 1, what sports and physical activities did you participate in during the whole last year? That's a multiple choice item. What kind of regular physical activity do you get for 30 minutes most days a week? That's just a yes or no question. Or do you get regular physical activity? Do you eat a healthy breakfast each morning? Yes or no? Do you get 8 or more hours sleep? Yes or no? What's the greatest number of alcoholic drinks or alcohol drinks you've had in the past 30 days from 0 to 5 or more? These are the questions that we ask in the high school version of sport, getting them to think about a range of their health habits so that they could then compare that to themselves in a desired future image. So this, and then we can put all this together in a screening and brief intervention. That's what prevention plus wellness programs are. So the first step is to screen participants for their current health habits. This is done with a screening survey. Secondly, you provide that feedback, showing those PowerPoint slides and providing those positive images and communications. And then thirdly, you assist participants by setting and monitoring goals to avoid substance use and increase healthy behaviors. That increases that self-regulation. But you can also use this content to create a media campaign. So you can use quizzes or questions in your media campaign to increase reflection on personal health behaviors. You can pair substance use and wellness behavior benefits and barriers in your messaging. You can show positive images and use image terms that increase motivation for change. You can show substance use risk messages targeting risk factors like social norms, myths, and perceived harmfulness. You could provide goal setting and contracts or pledges to avoid substance use, but also increase protective wellness habits. And you could provide opportunities for engaging in a number of wellness habits. So just to conclude or to review for you, there's three options that are providing prevention plus wellness strategies. One is to use existing evidence-based programs or evidence-informed programs right off the shelf from prevention plus wellness. Two, you can take them and tailor or customize them to your setting or populations. And three, you can create your own program or campaigns. And if you're going to do that, there's 3 steps to that. Number 1, identify risk and wellness habits to target. 2, develop 2-step messaging. 3, develop additional risk messages. 4, create PowerPoint slides or other media with corresponding messages. 5, develop goal setting or pledges. And 6, create questions for screening or media campaigning. If you want us to provide more in-depth training, advanced training in a workshop for your prevention or your wellness providers or health providers or your youth so that they can create their own evidence-informed program for your group or at a conference, we're happy to do that. Just reach out to us and we could discuss that. PreventionPlusWellness.com is our website. info@preventionpluswellness.com is our email. And our phone number here in Jacksonville, Florida is 904-472-5022. Please go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com, to sign up for free resources. And some of these resources are these here listed, and they're on our website. And again, I will send you all a PDF, a slide of this, and a recording of this session. That's what our website looks like. And I don't know what I was thinking of, but when I first started, I forgot to mention that my name is Dr. Chudley Wirtz, and I'm the president at Prevention Plus Wellness, for those of you that don't know. And I wanted to welcome you to this training and thank you so much for taking time in your busy schedules. God bless you for all you do for youth and families in your communities. Now, I know we're running a little bit late. Not bad, actually. Only like 5 minutes. I really kicked it in high gear there at the end. So if you have any questions or comments about any of this content, about how to create your own evidence-informed prevention plus wellness intervention or media campaign, or you want to know about our existing evidence-based or evidence-informed programs at Prevention Plus Wellness, or how to customize them, now's your chance. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments that you have. And so I'm just going to wait for a minute and see if anybody has anything other than I can see and hear you. Great information. Thank you. You guys are welcome. It is my honor to be able to spend time with you. It's really, really a great pleasure. And if I've given you anything that can help you, then that's awesome from my perspective. So any questions or other comments anybody wants to make about anything I've presented. I think next week, by the way, we will have a webinar on positive youth development and substance use prevention. So look forward to that probably next Thursday. So sign up on our website, put your email in there so that you get a notice about that. Okay, no questions, no comments, last chance. Anything you want to ask me? Anything at all about prevention plus wellness? Happy to answer it. But again, I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for wherever you're at across the country or even abroad for promoting the well-being and protecting the health of youth and young adults. So that's it. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great afternoon. And I look forward to seeing you in the future. Bye-bye.